So following on from that, it gives me great pleasure to pass over to Ross Duncan, who is the Development Director. And this is to find out a bit more about the changes Scottish Golf have been making within the club's support system since last year's conference, and also some of the new initiatives that are being launched in response to feedback from the members and the clubs. Please welcome Ross.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ross Duncan, Development Director for Scottish Golf, as Emma said, and I formally took on this role back in May this year. Appreciate it's a hugely challenging task trying to grow the game and build stronger clubs, but I certainly wouldn't have taken on the challenge had I thought I couldn't make a difference. As Andrew said, we want to leave the game in a better position than the one we inherited, and that's hopefully something that everybody in this room who's involved in running golf clubs in Scotland can relate to. I have to say I get slightly offended when I read on social media, probably shouldn't read social media, that people involved in running Scottish golf aren't in touch with the grassroots of the game. I've been a member of my own club for, I think, 32 years. No, I don't look old enough. I've been on the committee for, I think, 12 years. And I'm currently the marketing convener and the club captain at my home club at Peebles Golf Club. Also help out as a level 1 volunteer coach, teaching or helping teach kids on a Sunday morning, and try and play in quite a few competitions as well. So very much in touch with the grassroots of the club, and fully appreciate what life is like trying to run a golf club in the current climate. I think I'm also the only club captain at Peebles that there's been, or possibly in Scotland, who's done their club championship presentation in their flip-flops and a pair of shorts, as I did this summer. It was 28 degrees after all, for those of you who can remember back to the long hot summer that we had in Scotland. And I guess at Peebles we picture ourselves as quite a kind of relaxed, family-friendly club, so I thought, got my flip-flops on, why not? And I felt it was a good message to say that we have a relaxed dress code. So hopefully I can speak from experience as someone who's been there, worn the t-shirt and indeed the shorts. I'm very proud to be part of working as a volunteer in a golf club, particularly one that's grown its membership in each of the last 5 years. We too had very challenging times, but we've turned the club around by focusing on the junior and youth element, and we've grown our youth and junior membership from 60 to its current level of over 150. Up on the screen you'll see an image. I put a tweet out from my own golf club at the start of the season showing our new clubhouse rules. It's probably slightly different to most rules posters you might see at a golf club. It certainly seemed to capture the imagination of the golf industry, and indeed was shared by over 150 people and over 10,000 engagements. The message was really to encourage people to smile when they go to the golf club rather than moan and groan. I'm sure everybody in this room has seen it, but you know, golf is a fantastic sport, one that we should all enjoy, but I think too often we can go into the game or the clubhouse with a negative attitude, have a moan at the committee, and we talk it down rather than kind of talking it up. But hopefully some of the message that you'll hear from us today will certainly change that. It's certainly great to see so many people in the room here today that are eager to embrace change and make your clubs better. To be a strong club, it takes bravery and bold decisions, as Eleanor said, a good business plan, but it also takes very hard-working and dedicated people, and many of you are here today. Going that extra mile, putting in the extra hours, and being that change is vital. As Andrew alluded to earlier, we did some insights projects over the summer period, and we engaged with over 40% of our golf clubs in Scotland, with 235 clubs responding to our many phone calls. This was on the back of feedback that we got at last year's conference, and we've got a pretty good sample size to start with, and that's very encouraging for us. Also encouraging was the number of clubs that said they were aware of our club services at 85%. And 85%, said that the services that we provide were beneficial, comprehensive, very good or helpful. And that's very encouraging to see that our support is moving in the right direction. But which club services did the clubs use? Not surprisingly, handicapping came out on top at just under 80%. And it's great that service, the team run by Callum Grant in our office, is really valued by the clubs. But it would, however, be good to see some clubs using some of the wider services. And you can see on the graph there just how kind of that falls away quickly. And while handicapping is important, it doesn't necessarily pay the bills. And it was slightly disappointing that our recent resource efficiency seminars that we had scheduled for last month, we actually had to cancel two. And this is something that we were pitching to help clubs save money. We actually ran a pilot seminar at Auchterarder Golf Club back in the summer with our partners at Resource Efficiency Scotland, which led to some clubs making savings of around £3,000 a year purely on lighting energy. On an average, a club who's worked with us in this area can expect to make savings of £10,000. For any club interested in tapping into this excellent resource that we have, I would be delighted to introduce you to my colleague Carolyn Headley in her expert area of that field. We're certainly not going to scrimp on handicapping, however, and indeed we'll be staging a number of seminars this spring to help clubs within transition into the new worldwide handicapping system, which will be upon us in 2020. And there will be further online training for those who can't attend on those seminars. The next highest ranking service was safeguarding, and something that's really important if you're to take junior golf development at your club seriously. And that rated at about 60% of the clubs using that. This is an often unseen area of the governing body's work, but it is hugely important that we all take it seriously. And indeed, Scottish Golf prides itself on the great service that we provide golf clubs, and we're held very highly in the regard of Sports Scotland as a result of the service we deliver in this area. To date, we've processed over 600 PVG applications this year and almost 1,800 in total over the last 3 years. And our thanks go to Gavin Forrester and Andrew Travers for their work in this area. So what else have clubs told us? Part of the survey was really getting feedback on clubs for what else they wanted to see from us, and communication ranked up there pretty highly. This is something we're often accused of not doing a good job on, but we are working hard behind the scenes on a new website, and we've recently appointed Cameron McClay, who's at the back of the room today, as our new communications manager to lead the work on a new communications strategy. We do invest significant resource in our e-newsletters, social media and mainstream media, but we've got to get better at gauging with our clubs to promote the services through these marketing channels. As you'll see from the feedback, there's also a perception that perhaps we don't provide enough support for the smaller clubs. This is certainly not our intent, and we do have numerous case studies to illustrate where our support can benefit some of those more remote clubs, particularly in the Highlands, as you'll hear about in our club panel later on. A further suggestion on a similar theme was to make our education seminars more accessible to the whole country, because these were seen as being too far away for some of the more remote clubs. Whilst we try and cover every part of the country, it's not always feasible, and we are looking at ways in which we can bring remote learning opportunities through our workshop programmes over the coming year, and we'll talk about that shortly as well. Looking at further improvements, better promotion of golf clubs through our marketing channels was something that was asked for, and there was probably a feeling that we sometimes promoted some of the bigger clubs instead of the smaller clubs. And that's something we're very keen to change and improve on through our new digital platform, which will be available to every single golf club who's affiliated with us. Whilst greater interaction with the pay-per-play golfers also came up regularly through our feedback, again a component of Ian's update later on. One other suggestion was tiered education, so that we can design our tools that are fit for purpose, both for big clubs, small clubs, and everybody else in between. And I ran a series of digital marketing seminars last year, covering social media, digital marketing, and everything that goes with that, with more than 100 clubs attending. But the variance in knowledge between marketing conveners at those clubs was pretty stark. So it is very important that we try and bring education to everybody who needs it, no matter their level of ability. And with the marketing background that I have, I see marketing and communication support for golf clubs as a vital part of our business planning service going forward. Another suggestion that we took from clubs from the feedback was a 9-hole junior competition. And this was really on the back of a hugely successful 9-hole championship that we ran with the RNA earlier on this season, and hopefully many clubs in this room were involved. There's been a lot of talk about the shorter format of the game, with 9-hole competitions coming to the fore, and we were delighted that over 270 clubs entered our qualifying event this year. Such was the demand that we had to actually extend our final over 2 days at Milnathort in the summer instead of 1. The shorter format has been around for a long time. I grew up playing 9 holes a lot. I play 6 holes a lot with my son. I just don't think golf's been particularly good at telling the wider world that it exists. We already have our version of 2020 cricket, and I will go on to talk about an exciting new 6-hole initiative for juniors later on. Moving on to equality, again something Andrew touched upon, and this is a hugely important part of our work going forward. We asked clubs just about how well positioned they were for the provision of golf to men and women, and not surprisingly highlighted that many women across the country don't have the same playing opportunities as their male counterparts, particularly with access to tee-off times on peak days and in particular Saturday. 2/3 of golf clubs still have separate competition days for men and women. Whilst 84% had Saturdays as the main competition days for men, disappointingly only 57% ran competitions on Saturdays for women. If clubs are really genuine about wanting to attract more women into the game, particularly younger working women, we have to ensure that both genders can play equally on a Saturday, which might be the only time a busy working woman can play golf, or indeed a busy working man. I would say this requires significant attitude and culture shift, and I read about one club on Twitter last week who were advertising their ladies' club AGM that was taking place at 10:30 a.m. on Monday morning. So unless that club was offering Skype facilities, I don't suppose many working women were having their say at that particular club. Thankfully it wasn't in Scotland. So within our strategy, we have a target of increasing female membership in Scotland by 33% over the next 4 years. It's actually only 12 golfers per club, or 12 new women per club. But to achieve that, we have to work collectively on that to address inequality within golf clubs. So I've talked to you about what the feedback's been, and we've made a lot of changes on the back of that feedback. So I'm just going to take you through some slides on what we have done. A key element of the feedback was providing more expertise within the organisation, particularly when it comes to club development. And whilst the club development officers have been doing a great job out on the road, over the last couple of years they've been lacking in fresh resources and new toolkits to take out to clubs that are built in the head office. There's been an element of being reactive rather than proactive, or firefighting rather than come out with a new solution. So the key changes that we've got reflect some of that feedback. We've looked at the development team structure, and there's been no increase in the headcount, but we've realigned people based on their expertise within the organisation, focusing on 6 core areas of support with 3 new roles created within the team. We've also merged a regional club development officer team with our schools and communities officers to create a pool of 7 regional club development officers to work out in the field. And while these posts will be very much focused on our clubs being club-centric, there will still be a role for the team to play in helping clubs forge link with schools and local communities so they can feed some of that pipeline of young people into the game. But our focus is very much going to be on you, the clubs. So who are the new team? We have some of them in the room today. The light's a bit bright up here, but I'll ask them to stand up as I announce them. Leading on our club business work is Ian Evans. Ian's the most experienced of our club development officers, and Ian's work is going to be focused on governance, business planning, marketing, membership recruitment, member forums and customer service, whilst also working alongside Ian on the new digital platform. Gavin Forrester moves to the role of Junior Development Manager, and Gavin has the not-so-small remit of building a new national junior framework in Scotland that I'll touch upon later on, working closely with our partners at the PGA, working on safeguarding and those school-to-club links that I've mentioned. We appointed a new Women and Girls Officer, Women and Girls Development Manager at the start of the year, Carol Harvey, focusing on the women's game, and I'll talk about Carol's role in more detail later on. And the 3 people that we have existing within the team, Carolyn Headley, whose role covers all aspects of how golf clubs can cope with climate change, looking at sustainability, resource efficiency, and the many environmental aspects of running a golf club. Callum Grant leads the work on handicapping and course rating, as I mentioned, overseeing all that really technical work, helping with course rating training. And we rate an average of 70 to 80 clubs a year, and I'd like to thank the volunteers that help Callum do that work, particularly at the moment where we're re-rating tees for every gender and the growth of the 9-hole ratings as well. And finally, overseeing the regional development team is Mandy Martin. Many of you will know Mandy from her role as a regional club development officer. Mandy will still continue to work with a few clubs in Edinburgh, but her responsibility is making sure that we get the best out of the regional club development team. So on to the regional team itself, and these people will work very closely with our central team to take our work out to the people at the coalface to try and make a difference. covering all parts of Scotland. As I said earlier, we have 7. We have an average of 80 club relationships to manage. But each of our development officers is going to be tasked with providing support to every affiliated golf club in Scotland who needs it, with a tailored support package using the core services that we provide. We have 3 new people within that team that have moved from the schools and communities roles. Anne Lang, who many of you will know down in the southwest, Fraser Crawford, covering Perth and Kinross and Fife, and Martin Ritchie, who's working in the northeast. Each of these 3 people have great experience of working in the development of junior golf in their previous roles and have great knowledge of the inner workings of clubs. They've all served on club committees as well, or supported club committees. As a comparison, England Golf has 32 club support officers, but we are working very hard to get our offering right to clubs and providing training for our staff so that they can go out and deliver the best possible service to you. Joining Willie Mackay in the Highlands, Leslie Nicholson down in the southeast, Sean Laird in the west, and Craig Chalmers, who covers the Glasgow and surrounding area. Moving on to one of our more exciting new initiatives that we launched this year, and that was the club buying group. Unfortunately, Ian Howison, who works with us in that, has called off today. I would have asked Ian to stand up at this juncture, but I think he's got a sickness bug, probably too much travelling around the country. But we launched this back at our AGM in March, really on the back of previous feedback that we'd had for clubs, asking if we could help them procure key supplier categories and save money. So we chose GMG as our partners who've got great experience in working in this sector, and we've been working on that since March. The buying group harnesses the collective purchasing power of our golf clubs, and with 578 potential customers, we can really work those suppliers hard to get savings for our clubs. It's an opt-in service, but we now have 184 different golf clubs registered in Scotland. And to date, we have savings aggregating over £178,000 and projected year-one savings for those clubs who do sign up between £3,000 and £4,000 per year in year one. Key categories include gas and electricity, in what is a very challenging marketplace at the moment. But again, we have some great examples of clubs saving money in this area. We also have waste management, food procurement, telecoms, washroom services, scorecard printing, and other areas. And the buying group really is for everybody, from large clubs such as Royal Troon to a small club such as Campsie, and everything in between. Ian sent on some fantastic examples where clubs have saved significant money recently. Largs in the west and Afford in the northeast have both benefited from our food procurement savings, with £6,900 and £4,000 respectively for this year. The Herschel down in the Borders have saved over £3,000 on a recent electricity bill, and Campsie, who I mentioned, have saved over £1,500 across 3 different categories. Another one is Lamlash Golf Club, who made a 57% saving on their previous telecom bills. I think as well as saving money, the buying group is also designed to help the club managers and volunteers save time. We have an innovative contracts manager platform, which is a great tool that helps alert you when your contracts are up for renewals. I think we've all spent endless hours at night looking at our own price comparison sites for our own electricity and gas, but this system really takes the pain away from doing that so that you as a club manager can focus on other key parts of your business. And for any club not involved in that already, please do contact Ian or your regional club development officer. Education was also one of the key themes that came through from our feedback, and we've been working very hard at new ways of looking at how we provide education to our golf clubs. Looking at club managers, volunteers, PGA professionals, and other people involved with running a golf club. And whilst there's significant value in face-to-face training and networking between clubs, we do appreciate that not everyone has the time or ability to travel to the nearest workshop. To that end, as you'll see on the screen, we've been trialling an online classroom. This is nothing new given the technology that's now available in this area, but we want to find the best solution that can be applicable for everyone. And Gavin has run a series of safeguarding workshops using the Adobe Connect platform, and we've had over 50 delegates from 37 clubs taking part in that with great feedback, so it does work. Online learning is something we're very keen to develop over the next year, and indeed, for those of you who have been at the recent rules seminars, there is an online element to them so that you can take the video presentation back to your club or go and look through it if you've not managed to go along to one of the seminars. Clearly, Scottish Golf aren't and can't be the experts in everything that we provide on the education front. But we do try and work with other people that we can turn to. There's lots of experts out in the golf industry that we work with, and we are very keen to forge stronger relationships with a number of other governing bodies, including the R&A, the Scottish Golf Club Managers Association, on the greenkeeping front, BIGA, the PGA, Sport Scotland and Visit Scotland, as well as working more closely with the various local authorities who play a vital role in operating a large number of courses across Scotland, and you'll hear from someone involved in that in our club panel. We're particularly pleased to be working closely with the Scottish Golf Club Managers Association again in providing subsidies to the smaller clubs who want to put their club managers through the MDP programme that makes it more affordable. And this support can be accessed via your regional club officer. It's fair to say, I think, that any member of staff or club manager that's gone through the training has come out the other end doing a better job and making a positive impact on running their club. Another area we're working closely with the R&A on is golf and health, as Andrew mentioned, and we're delighted that the R&A are investing so much resource and money in this area to really raise the many benefits that golf can provide and health and well-being. We want to make sure that the wider world knows about this as well, and it's vital that the R&A continue to spread the message globally so that non-golfers can hear the messages. There's been significant academic research done in this field, particularly by Edinburgh University and Dr. Andrew Murray, who you may have heard about, highlighting the many benefits associated with playing golf. And this is something we're very keen to promote to older people, to keep people playing for longer and to keep people within the game. Collectively, I think we need to do a better job at telling the world that golf is good for you. And we're going to be working on our own national communication campaign next year to highlight these messages for you to take back to your local club and local community to spread the word. People who play golf regularly can expect to live 5 years longer than those who don't. Regular golf decreases the risk of anxiety, depression and dementia. Playing golf also decreases the risk of 40 different chronic diseases. And golf is also shown to have confidence, self-worth and self-esteem benefits, although not if you four-putt the 18th. So look out for more information on golf and health. This really is going to be one of the key areas of work going forward, particularly as we work more closely with the R&A on this front. And there's lots of information on the R&A website. So as well as taking money from you, we're happy to say that we also give money back to you. And we launched the Regional Club Development Fund earlier on this year. And this is really designed to support clubs with a number of sustainable projects, ranging from training and education, marketing, coach development and facility improvement, where we match fund some of the money put in by clubs. And over the past 6 months, a total of £15,000 has been invested in the Club Development Fund, with our own regional club development officers working on clubs on particular projects to make a difference to the long-term success of that club. We also use the evaluation that we get from clubs involved in this to share best practice and hopefully encourage other clubs to follow some of those projects. And to date, we're pleased to say 38 different clubs benefited from this in 2018, and we're going to be significantly increasing the funding available as part of that affiliation fee uplift into next year with a particular support focus on smaller clubs. One such club to benefit, if you look on the screen this year, has been McDonald Ellen Golf Club in the North East, and I think Mike Morris from the club is here today. So well done, Mike, on achieving some great results. Mike and his team up at McDonald Ellen worked with our regional club development officer at the time, Ian Evans, and the club engaged his services to put together an open day planning session with the objective of driving membership and supporting the growth of their Get Into Golf programme, which they'd already started. One of Ian's specialist areas is open day planning, and hopefully you'll hear more about him and the open day planning module that we're going to be working on next year. And he's done a number of club projects in his time on this front. And Ian helped the committee up with Mike through a planning session for open days using the module that he'd created. However, we can only do so much to help, and it required the commitment of the club's volunteers and the team up at McDonald Ellen to stage a very successful open day in the summer, which, as you may have read in our marketing channels, generated no fewer than 66 new members this year, of which included 24 females and 18 juniors. In addition, their Get Into Golf programme has gone from strength to strength, with 25 women now taking part in the introductory golf sessions. This is a great example of what can be achieved working with Scottish Golf and the vision of a club committee. So again, well done to Mike and his team up there. On top of the Club Development Fund, we're also delighted to be working in partnership with the Golf Foundation and HSBC, and we were given a grant of £50,000 to invest in junior club projects this year when we launched the project at Carnoustie this summer. That's a fantastic amount of money and is going to be spread across different clubs with up to £500 or £750 available per club to reward those clubs who successfully put together a pathway for junior membership between school and clubs. And this will be available to the first 87 clubs who take it up. The HSBC Golf Routes Project Fund will support different projects which help clubs grow their junior section. And again, we're looking at a number of different criteria for this. And this could be junior coaching, training for pros and indeed volunteers, new equipment for kids, facility improvement or marketing. This was launched earlier this year. It's going to be available till the end of March. And I'd like to thank Brendan Pyle and his team at the Golf Foundation for helping to make this happen. And I really would urge any club who's not been involved in this so far to get in touch again with your regional club development officer. There's lots of information on the website as well. Sticking with the theme of juniors, and probably the biggest area of discussion I've had in my time during this new role has been the challenges that we all face recruiting more young people into the game. We're certainly not alone in this regard, and some of these challenges are faced by all different sports and indeed many other governing bodies as we all try and stay relevant to Generation Y, the millennials, and the young team, as the boys in the office call it. There's some great stories, however, to come from clubs up and down the country who've been building successful junior programmes, and we want to talk more about them as we go around the country trying to get the best insights from people. Great examples of clubs who work with local schools. Heard one this morning from Jason Boyd at Montrose, improving the junior facilities and making their clubs more attractive to young people. And while we're still to find that elusive magic wand, we believe there are a combination of factors that do contribute to a successful junior programme, supported by, but importantly not dictated to, your national governing body. I think, as we discussed last year, we've learnt many lessons from the successful club, or the success of some aspects of club golf. And whilst it might not have been the transformational change it set out to, it has resulted in some significant changes to the junior golf landscape in Scotland. I think on the whole, clubs are generally better equipped to look after young people. Traditionally, there was only one junior convener with not a lot of support around them, and we now have junior section with a number of volunteers helping out. I think attitudes in general have improved towards young people, and we now see that golf is still played in schools and many facilities have been improved to be more appealing to kids. There's been some great initiatives up and down the country as well, and really I want to highlight the fantastic work done by the Paul Laurie Foundation in the North East and the Stephen Gallagher Foundation in the South East, and we've been having ongoing discussions with them as to how they go about their work. I would have loved to have stood up here today and talked about a shiny new national junior framework that we're going to be launching, but these things take time, but I think we are progressing behind the scenes. We've certainly not been standing still, and the work on this front is being led by Gavin Forrester, who I mentioned earlier, gathering insights and also updating some of the resources so that we still have an offering to give to clubs in the interim. One of the initial pieces of work that Gavin's been doing is developing a series of regional forums that we're going to be doing in the spring, inviting PGA pros and junior conveners from across Scotland, those with the best experience at working with kids at their clubs, with the aim of sharing best practice insights and looking at how we can start to build that framework using examples of what's being done already, a bit like taking the best bits from what's out there. I think it's evident that not one size fits all, and again, speaking to a few pros over recent months, that they all do things in a kind of slightly different way, but there's a lot of commonality within that, a lot of factors that shine through as we can see up on the screen. Making golf fun, I think, is something that's very important, and that's just not on the golf course, it's within the clubhouse as well. Engaging with parents, keeping it affordable and accessible, we've talked about. I think integrating with membership as soon as possible is key to retaining youngsters in your golf club. Good communication and marketing is absolutely vital, as we know now, and that's not just social media. And also having PGA pros very much at the heart of your club, or working with a roving pro for those clubs who aren't fortunate enough to have their own pro, as well as being supported by a team of volunteers. Safeguarding is another vital issue, and I don't think you can run a junior golf programme without going through all the various stages of that. But if you put all these things in the melting pot, you can start to see what a successful programme looks like. Enhance it digitally, you can engage with more kids. Partner up with your local school, you can reach more kids. And embrace your local community, as we've seen, and you can reach more families. So we look forward to developing some of this work is one of our really major priority projects going forward. Again, something else that Andrew touched upon is one of our exciting new initiatives that we've launched recently, the Young Persons Golf Panel. And I'm really pleased that this is now taking off. We launched this last month, inviting young people aged between 14 and 23 with a passion for golf or sport to get involved. It's all very well asking people from golf club committees to tell us what they think, but as Andrew said, we really don't have a clue at times what youngsters are thinking these days, as we're using Facebook and they're using Snapchat. A bit like Tom Hanks in the film Big, for those of you who can remember back to the early 80s, where the Macmillan Toy Company invited him to design their next range of toys after they advised him that the current offering that the adults came up with just wouldn't sell. Collectively, the golf industry, I think, in general, hasn't been great at asking youngsters, so we're now going to start that process. We're all arguing over dress codes, as we've touched upon earlier, but these kids are living lives in tracksuit bottoms and jazzy leggings, so I think some of these attitudes really have to change, and we want that to be driven by young people. Our work's been led by Sports Scotland, and they've been working with a number of governing bodies who've set up their own young people's panels, comprising of youngsters who want to have an input into their sport. Sports Scotland themselves have had their own panel up and running for a number of years ago, and Andrew and I were privileged enough to attend a conference a couple of weeks ago in Glasgow, and we were blown away by the quality of the presentations delivered by the young people. They actually ran their own national conference last month, some of you may have seen it on social media, called Lead the Way, bringing youngsters together to create ideas, share practice and develop their skills. And wouldn't it be great for us to stand here next year with some of those young people speaking about the work they've been doing over the past 12 months. We often hear of clubs complaining that they can't attract young people onto the committee, and indeed I was accused recently of leading a young clique of 40-year-olds on my committee. I certainly ain't young anymore. So we are building our own young people's panel. We had a third of applicants were female, and we're currently shortlisting and interviewing candidates with the aim of starting our work in January. One of my ambitions for this would be to have a young person or young ambassador represented in every club in Scotland, and even having a young persons panel at every club in Scotland. 2018 has been the year of young people, and I think we should embrace that and build a legacy for it. Some of the stories I heard at that Sports Scotland conference would suggest that young people are really, really keen to get involved in supporting sport and committees across the country, whether golf or any other sport. Whether that's for work experience, building up their own CVs, or putting applications in for further education. And we've got a massive market out there of young people who can help fill some of the gaps on our committees or work closely with our club managers. Another initiative, keep talking about initiatives here, but we have been quite busy. We launched this in 2018, again in partnership with the Golf Foundation, was our Box of Tricks workshop, and hopefully some of the people in the room I know have been at some of the seminars that we did. The Box of Tricks, I'll show it here for anyone who's not seen it, is literally a box of tricks, and it's really a bunch of ideas aimed at clubs trying to retain members, junior members at their own club. It touches upon a little bit of coaching, but it's really focused on some of the off-course work that you can do at your club, such as family engagement, junior member nights, all designed to make junior golf club membership more appealing to kids and their families all year round. Initially, we staged a series of 9 workshops across Scotland in the autumn, but they really caught the imagination of junior conveners, club managers and those involved in junior golf, so much so that we had to add a further 5 workshops to our total. We had 217 delegates across 140 different clubs in attendance, and all our 7 regional club development officers have been trained to deliver these. So if there is demand out there still, if you've not been involved in doing this, we would really encourage you to speak to your club development officer and see if we can put one on in your area. The proof of the pudding, obviously, will be to see what work gets done, but some of the enthusiasm, certainly leaving some of those workshops, would suggest there's going to be an awful lot of work going to be taking place at clubs over the coming months to plan how they're going to attract and retain junior members over the next year. Another project we've been working on with the Golf Foundation was the Junior Golf Sixes, and this is a great initiative that's had some real success already throughout the UK. Working with Leslie in the southeast and Mandy in West Lothian, we ran 2 pilot Junior Sixes leagues on the back really of the successful European Tour Golf Sixes event. The Golf Sixes leagues are designed to give competitive opportunities to young golfers coming up through their club ranks, not necessarily those who are members have handicaps, but give them the chance to play for your local team. Obviously in golf it's slightly different to team sports such as football and rugby, but the Golf Sixes is designed to be an exciting, fun part of the game and to give you that thrill of pulling on your club jersey or club shirt and representing your club. We've taken it down to 6 holes, obviously, playing in a 2-person scramble and using different scoring method that makes it easier for kids to get involved. The Golf Foundation generously provide clothing for the teams and merchandise so that every club has got a different coloured shirt, a bit like 2020 cricket. And outside of this pilot, we've also seen a couple of clubs in Ayrshire come up with their own names for the junior sections, the Barassi Bashers at Barassi and the Little Nicks at Prestwick, just 2 of them. And that's something we would encourage all clubs to do as they get involved in the junior sixes next year. Results from the UK pilot last year, or this year, sorry, so a 34% increase in junior membership from the clubs that were involved. So it's certainly something that has a tangible result at the end. The feedback was really, really positive. We've just had the report in from the Golf Foundation yesterday. And we're now working with them to make some tweaks, improve the format and roll this out on a national basis next year. We're also in discussions with the organisers of the Solheim Cup. And I think if we speak to David Connor, who is here today nicely, there might be the chance that we can stage a national junior sixes final at Gleneagles next September, which would be an amazing experience for the youngsters. So watch this space and please encourage your club to get involved. So speaking of the Solheim Cup, we've obviously touched upon women and girls development and the work we've been doing in this area. And this again has really been a major focus for Scottish Golf this year. We are very grateful to the R&A and the Solheim Cup 2019 team for co-funding a new role at the start of this year, with Carol Harvey joining as our Women and Young People Development Manager. Carol joined from Scottish Netball, and netball is indeed the fastest growing sport in the UK. So Carol's bringing some of her learnings and expertise from that sport into helping us grow female participation and membership. And while we can use the Solheim Cup as a platform next year, our work really needs to go beyond that, and we can hopefully ensure that women and girls are at the heart of the Scottish golf strategy for years to come. From the conference last year, we're all very aware of the importance of engaging more women in the game, and we do have that stat that only 13% of our membership is female. We're working hard on developing further our national Get Into Golf programme aimed at adult beginners across the country. And this does deliver positive results for the clubs who've embraced it. Scottish Golf provides clubs with marketing and coaching resources to support your club. And again, we've had some really good examples of clubs who've embraced this. Elgin Golf Club have had 60 women signed up to the initial coaching programme, with 28 taking up an introductory membership offer. And they have had 5 now fully involved in full membership, taking their membership of females to over 100. Glencourse Golf Club, just down the road from here, had 46 women attend an open evening earlier on this summer, with 42 moving into their Get Into Golf group coaching sessions. And they've had 15 new full members taking part, and that's a massive increase on where they were before. And in the heart of the country, Milner Thorpe Golf Club, I mentioned earlier, have added 25 new females into their Get Into Golf programme, all full members. And you'll hear shortly about some of the work at Douglas Park's Get Into Golf, an innovative Get Into Golf programme, and Anne Scott joins us on the club panel. Lost a slide here. Anyway, you can listen to me and still look at the screen. Some of the research we've had from Get Into Golf is that a lot of the women coming into Get Into Golf that are new to golf don't necessarily want to play golf in the more traditional format. And we've seen some great examples of clubs putting forward some different membership categories, such as buddy systems, shortened formats of competitive golf, and different things being adapted for this demographic. And putting and Prosecco night seemed to be a hugely popular event for this particular demographic. So again, that's something that I would encourage many clubs to do. I think we had 40 at my own golf club doing this, the power of Prosecco. So Carol's leading the work in this area and currently developing new resources to work on with our clubs so that we can make the most of the Solheim Cup opportunity. It's certainly not going to happen overnight, and some of the challenges that we face is the outside world's perception towards golf, and that it's a very stuffy, male-dominated and traditional game, because that's what they read in the media. To counteract that, we worked with England Golf, Wales Golf and Ireland Golf on the Women and Girls Golf Week that was squeezed in between the Aberdeen Standard Investments Ladies Scottish Open at Gullen and the Ricoh Women's British Open at Royal Lytham. And this was a fantastic social media campaign that we all worked together on and created some excellent results. Worked with a number of high-profile women who are involved in the golf industry, such as TV presenters Diane Knox and Ailey Barber, PGA pros Ailsa Murphy and Katie McNichol, social media star, the jazzy golfer, hopefully she's watching online today, as well as showcasing the great work of many female volunteers who are involved in working in the grassroots of the game in Scotland. And I know some of them are here today. Carol Fell, Mary Richardson and Yvonne Dixon were all discussed that week, and they're doing a great job in their respective clubs. The campaign itself generated 12 million Twitter impressions globally and significant wider media coverage. And while that was just the start, I think we can all work together to showcase some of the great things that are happening in women's golf so that we can attract more women into our beautiful game. On the girls' side, whilst we've increased the number of girls taking part in golf through their schools as part of the club golf programme, girls' membership remains fairly static at club level, and we continue to see a drop-off when girls reach teenage years. To address this, a couple of years ago we launched This Girls Golf initiative, which brought younger girls together in regional hubs, and we ran 3 events last summer, of which we built upon with 10 new events this summer. We had 140 different girls taking part in these events over the summer, and we had a fantastic event also at Kingsbarns with the Kingsbarns Girl Classic. And we're using some of the girls involved in that programme to again gain insights to help us improve the work and start attracting more of their peers within the game. If you take a look at the screen, hopefully you'll see some of the girls in action at Gull and the This Girl Golf events.
Hi, I'm Carol Harvey. I'm the Women and Young People Development Manager at Scottish Golf. We're here in beautiful Gullin tonight at the launch of This Girl Golf's on Tour. We've got 15 young girls here playing with the assistant pro from Gullin. They're here to take part in activities, fun coaching and generally get to know one another. This Girl Golf's on Tour primarily looks to bring girls together that are perhaps isolated in their clubs and that don't have many friends and don't have many people to go out and play golf with, and we're trying to bring them together regionally so that they can make friendships and moving forward won't feel as isolated and stay in the sport for a long time.
Thanks there to Carol, and This Girl Golf will again be rolled out to our clubs next summer. Moving on to the Women and Girls Charter that Andrew mentioned, and the RNA have been making great strides with their support of the women's game since merging with the LGU last year, and are investing more than £80 million over the next 10 years globally to grow female participation in the sport. The highest profile initiative was the Women in Golf Charter back in May, which called upon the golf industry to unite and focus on gender balance within the game, through clubs supporting measures and actions to encourage more women, girls and families into golf. The Charter also called for positive action to push more women towards careers in the golf industry and invite clubs to create a much more inclusive environment that will hopefully allow our game to flourish even. Our challenge to you today then is to get your club signed up to the RNA Women in Golf Charter. But we don't just want this to be a piece of paper or certificate that hangs on your notice board. We want this to be an active part of your club strategy going forward. And we really need clubs to live and breathe these changes. To enable this, Carol will be working on a number of initiatives, and we'll be providing a toolkit to allow clubs to help make some of these changes happen. Our aim in 2019 is to get 100 clubs signed up to this charter. Hopefully we'll get more, but also committing to the actions needed to make those changes happen. These include equal access to tee times on a Saturday or other peak times, as I talked about earlier, moving to ability-based tees rather than gender-based tees, grow female representation on committees and senior roles within the club, as well as providing a much more family-friendly environment and increased visibility of women in your clubhouse, and other measures that really try and demonstrate your commitment to changing a male-dominated culture. Scottish Golf will shortly be providing guidance to clubs asking how to get, or supporting how to get involved in the charter, and we've already had a number of clubs asking, so that's a really encouraging start. So this toolkit's going to be available early in the year. So the final part of my presentation revolves around the Solheim Cup, which we mentioned a couple of times today, and I think we're all looking forward to what's going to be a fantastic event at Gleneagles this September as the Women's Games' biggest team event comes to Scotland. The eyes of the golfing world are going to be on us once again, and we've got the added bonus of a Scottish captain with our own Katrina Matthew leading the European side. And this event provides everybody involved with Scottish golf, both at national, regional and a local level, to have the opportunity to do something positive and impact with some of the initiatives that I've mentioned today. We also want to line the fairways with as many people as possible, and we'd love you to all be there for the event. We want to have women and girls, boys and men, golfers and non-golfers to deliver a spectacle that the home of golf in the 21st century deserves. And we're looking forward to launching our own Solheim Cup Club Ambassador scheme next month, and we're searching for one person at each club to fly the Solheim Cup flag in their community. And we're going to be incentivising this with a number of excellent rewards and an excellent benefits package so that you can get access to tickets and discounts and merchandise from our partners at Ping. We want as many clubs as possible to celebrate the Solheim Cup and get clubs involved in the build-up to that event like we did at the Ryder Cup 4 years ago. Part of that, we want those women who have been involved in the Club Ambassador programme to stay involved at their club in the future, and hopefully being involved in that particular programme will give them a flavour and a taste for making positive changes at their golf club. So we're really looking forward to working with you all on this initiative. The atmosphere in the first tee at Gleneagles, I have no doubt, will be equal, if not better, than that of the Ryder Cup, particularly if those bloody Guardians aren't there on the first tee. So it'd be great to see all of you room present at Gleneagles in 9 months' time. And to whet your appetite further, I'd like to introduce a short video that's sure to get the hairs on the back of your neck standing up before we welcome Visit Scotland's Golf PR Manager, David Connor, onto the stage to say a few more words about the event.
Just the atmosphere, you can't beat it at the Solheim Cup, and that's what makes this event so special.
The nerves, it outweighs anything.
Just, it's so great to be here, and it's a dream come true, and I'm super excited.
I love it. It's like adrenaline that you'll never experience.
Great stuff. So I can ask David Connor from Visit Scotland to come up and say a few words about the 2019 Solheim Cup.
Thanks, Ross. Well, I don't know about you, but the goosebumps and the hairs on the back of my neck are certainly up after watching that video, and I've probably seen it 20 or 30 times now. So hopefully it gets you excited about that event coming next year. Amid all the talk today of how to engage women and young people in golf, it's almost as if by accident we have the world's biggest golf event coming to Scotland next year. 5 years on from the Ryder Cup, we feel it's incumbent upon Scotland as the home of golf to be leading the way in the drive for equality across golf and across sport in terms of the profile of women's sport. So the reason for me being here, and I really appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to you about Solheim Cup, is twofold. One really is a call to arms for the Scottish golfing public to come out and support this event at Gleneagles. As Ross said, we really want the fairways to be packed, the atmosphere on that first tee to be electric, really supporting Katrina and her European team looking to wrestle that trophy back from the Americans. This really is Scotland's event. We have a global reputation as the home of golf and a great stage for hosting major events, and we want the Solheim Cup to take that to the next level and really instill a feeling of pride across Scotland that we have this wonderful event coming to the country next year. We've set ourselves a really ambitious target of 100,000 spectators over the course of the week. That would make it, by quite a distance, the biggest women's event ever held in Europe. It's an accessible event for those of you who were at the Ryder Cup. That was obviously, there was a premium price to pay on that, £120, £130 or a ticket. From a Solheim Cup perspective, we really want to make it as an accessible event as possible. The ticket prices start from £10 for adults, and all children under the age of 16 are free. Very much want it to be a family-orientated event, and obviously we're encouraging clubs to organise various outings to that event, be it groups of men, groups of women, or even encouraging juniors to come along as well. And certainly there will be a number of incentives, as Ross touched on earlier, to deliver that. The second reason for being here really is, again, just to say, please take advantage of this major event coming to Scotland. We invest in bringing these events to Scotland for a number of reasons: to promote ourselves as a global golf tourism destination. The media profile that goes with these events is huge, and we obviously want to encourage more golfers to come to Scotland to play golf. But equally, they're a great vehicle for change and to attract golfers within Scotland, new golfers within Scotland to play this wonderful game. So really, it's a plea to use this event to help you encourage new members, to help you go out and try and recruit new women and young people. Certainly at my club, that's a huge focus for us. All clubs these days are looking for new members, and that really is a great untapped resource there. So we'd encourage you to be looking at Solheim Cup focused open days and events, perhaps mixed competitions. As Ross touched on, there's collateral available to help you do that. We, as the owners of the event, have the ability to provide you with various bits and pieces of marketing collateral, even up to the extent as if you've got something really exciting, we have the trophy available that we could potentially be bringing along to clubs. So as I said earlier, the Solheim Cup really can be a catalyst for this change, alongside the great work being done by Scottish Golf and other clubs across the room. And as I said, it really is incumbent upon Scotland, as the home of golf, to be leading this charge. So we hope to see you all at Glen Eagles in September next year, supporting Katrina and our team. Thank you.
Thank you, David, and bring on September 2019. To wrap up then, ladies and gentlemen, I think to make change happen, everybody in this room today has to be the leaders of change and be at the heart of that change and really live and breathe it and not just kind of talk about it. As a national governing body, we can only do so much, and ultimately it's down to the people involved in running golf at the grassroots level with our support to make that change happen. I'm delighted to welcome 3 people up on the stage this morning who are involved at their clubs, who've worked with Scottish Golf to give their side of the story and share their experiences of successes and the work being done at their club. And also to celebrate that year of young people, we also have a talented young golfer from Ayrshire who's come all the way through from club golf into the Scottish Golf Performance Academy to share her thoughts on what golf is like growing up as a junior golfer and a member in Scotland. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce our club panel onto the stage that Emma's going to host a Q&A with. The captain and junior convener at Carbridge Golf Club in the Highlands, Scott Henderson. Secretary at Douglas Park Golf Club in Bearsden, Anne Scott. Junior member at Prestwick St Nicholas and Airbil Isle Ladies Golf Club, Rachel Foster. And the very well-known PGA professional at North Inch, Pitlochry and Noah's Ark Golf Centre in Perth, Neil McGill. I shall pass you on to Emma.
Well, thank you very much, Ross. I'll let you come down before I come up. And thank you very much to David as well. So some very pertinent words there spoken about the Solheim Cup. And if I can just be allowed a moment to say that I started playing golf because of the Solheim Cup. So when you're being encouraged to take your members to this event at Glen Eagles, which is such a showpiece occasion for us here in Scotland next year, please, I would implore you to do it. I was very fortunate as a youngster to meet Annika Sorenstam. I then went home, set the VHS, yes, that's how long ago it was, the VHS on to record every single minute of the Solheim Cup and then implored my parents to book me some golf lessons. So it does work, and here we've got a reason to be thankful that is here in our country next year. So please do pay attention to the Solheim Cup and use it for the benefits of your members and to try and drive new members in your golf clubs around Scotland. So enough about that. We will continue to talk about the Solheim Cup though, but thank you very much all for being here. It really is. Are you enjoying the conference so far?
So far, so good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to ask some questions here now. And first of all, if I can just ask you individually to explain who you are and why you're here today to give everybody an idea.
My name's Neil McGill. I'm a PGA professional. I own the Noah's Ark Golf Centre in Perth, which is a golf driving range and retail shop. I also manage the local municipal golf course at North Inch in Perth and run the professional golf shop at Pitlochry Golf Club.
Thank you.
I'm Rachel Foster. I'm here representing all the junior golfers in Scotland, and I myself is a golfer. I've been through the kind of whole club golf and academy programme, so yeah, I hope I can share some insights on what the juniors think about golf.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Scott Henderson. I'm captain at Carbridge Golf Club up in the Highlands, a small 9-hole course, and I'm here to talk about juniors as well as show what good practice we've done over the past 5 years to build the club and the membership.
Hi, my name's Anne Scott, Secretary at Douglas Park Golf Club. I'm here really to talk about the Getting to Golf for Women's initiative that we've been running for the last couple of years, and how the things we learned and the things we shouldn't have learned, but hopefully give you some insight on how that was a success for us.
Thank you very much. So, well, Scott, let's start with you. If you can explain to us perhaps some of the key areas of support that you've received from Scottish Golf over the past 12 months.
Well, it's past 5 years, really. It all started 5 years ago. We had a great club development officer up in the Highlands, Willie Mackay, and through him we got some training for a couple of the committee. And at the time I was a junior convener, and we got training on business planning. And through that training, we created 6 core areas. And through that, the club has developed, the committee has developed. And that was really the start of it. Scottish Golf have provided us with flexible membership training and also PGA level 1 training. We've got 3 coaches. So, and there's various other areas, but those key areas were really sort of were the catalyst that changed the way Carbridge developed and made the focus more clear instead of having a committee that sat and argued and didn't have any path to follow. So that was the main area.
And Anne, I'll ask the same question to you about your own course.
It probably was back in September 16. I went and attended the Scottish Golf Club seminar that was to do with how to attract members to the golf course. One of the things you find when you try to put some... Sorry, am I going on and on?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's something. Let me just check it's facing the right way. I think it might just curled over, so we can do that. Let's sit like that.
My husband would like a button to turn me on and off.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's any better. Or... Yeah.
Is that okay?
Is it working? We've got a sound engineer on his way, jogging, breaking into a light jog here. Thank you, Adam. Perfect, thank you.
That's super, thanks very much. As I say, about September 2016, with my club captain at the time, we attended a Scottish Golf seminar about how to attract new members to the club. One of the big bits of information we actually got out of it was where the club membership was in terms of the age, how many people were playing, etc. And one of the things when you try to put a kind of project in place at a golf club is nobody believes that the figures are there, that we have to do it. So what was great about this particular seminar was that it gave you all the figures, average age of female golfers, average age of male golfers, playing membership percentage, and it gave you a little box to put in what your club was. And I put the figures in, and I was able to go to the committee and just show where we were compared to the actual national average. And it was the lady captain at the time who galvanised her team of volunteers into actually establishing that there was a reason that we needed to introduce more ladies into Douglas Park Golf Club. With with Sean Laird, who is our club development officer, they galvanised themselves, got a fantastic leaflet drop. In fact, the lady who is now taking my video at the moment is one of the key participants in that particular project. And we had a fantastic open evening. I'm now about to show my age here. We had a course safari in a la Dactari. We didn't have Clarence to the cross-eyed line as such, but what we did was we actually took members out into the actual course to show them what it was like. The 57 ladies thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the YouTube video is still about. I think screams were fairly high proportion. But what it does was just to show how fun golf was, to demystify the fact that coming up the driveway to that golf club wasn't a big thing. And out of that 57, I think we got about 17 ladies to join up. And from that, our pro actually then got involved in a kind of golf program where it was group-led, which we found was the ideal way to do it. What we then did was the ladies section got a buddy system going. And what the key thing for the pro was, he decided we've got to get these girls onto the course as quickly as we can. And what we actually did was develop a blue tees, and we've now course rated it, 150 yards in from all of 18 holes. So you don't have to stand in front of that horrible first tee in front of the golf shop with everybody saying they're not looking, but they actually are. So they could walk out and actually then play the game of golf. These girls have been fantastic. They've got their own WhatsApp group. They're fantastic ambassadors as well for moving forward. And this year, because this was last year we did it, this year we didn't even do the big golf event. We just had them as the ambassadors, and we got another 20 ladies to join this year without even putting the same investment in. And of these original ladies, we've got half a dozen now who are full members. There was a couple of people who did fall out, but what they did enjoy was at least having the idea to see, could they actually be a member of a golf club for a year to understand the whole thing? And that was fantastic. So they've been really good, and this year I hope the rest of the ladies will become full members. So it really has been a success, and it really is down to the hard work of the ladies section at Douglas Park. It's been fantastic.
Oh, it's very encouraging and very rewarding to hear that it's had such an impact. And Neil, just talk to us about some of the initiatives that you've been implementing at North Inch.
Yeah, so North Inch Golf Course, we started a kind of transformation project back at the end of 2014, start of 2015. Golf course had been really struggling condition-wise, and our numbers had dropped dramatically, and the course was at the point of being potentially up from closure from the local authority. So the first thing we did really was we again, working with Scottish Golf, we used the survey tool that Scottish Golf had, and we effectively tried to find out what our membership was, what people wanted and what they were looking for from the golf course. And we discovered from that that the condition of the golf course and the way it was set up was what needed altered. So we worked very hard to identify our golfing is not the elite golfer. We're there for the average general player. Our average handicap, I think, is 18.3. So we decided to cut most of the rough away, make the golf course much more playable. We then looked at, as a local authority golf course, how we could make golf as accessible as possible to everyone. So on a junior side, we don't have a practice facility, but what we did is we created a 6-hole short course in part of the first 2 holes of the golf course. So we now have 2 sort of temporary greens that are permanently in position on the first and second holes. So we have a short 6-hole course that is used both for our juniors, for our beginners, for our ladies groups, that just makes it easier for them with the shorter holes to get around. We also looked at the affordability side. So we ran what we called a golf club amnesty, and we asked people to hand in unused sets of golf clubs, because as golfers we tend to stockpile clubs that may just at one day come back out of the garage again. This has given us a large stock of golf clubs that we offer free of charge for people to play. And the other things really, I think with most golf clubs, where it's working is communication. That was such bad between the local authority and the golfers, and it's something that we've really worked hard on doing, is improving the communication.
And allowing golf to be more accessible to people, isn't it? Yeah. Communication, and obviously having the clubs there that are available for people to use who perhaps don't have their own set or are not sure they want to take up golf yet. It's an investment, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah. It's not one of the cheapest sports to get into, but actually there is so much equipment there that if it's there available for you to try. And we also use that with visiting golfers that come to the area as well, but just make it easy. Our junior program, we have free clubs again for juniors to use, and our junior program use all of those also. And we have direct links into the schools and the health and social care side, which I think is so important for golf going forwards.
And talking of juniors, Rachel, this is your cue. You are a junior member. What is it that junior golfers find appealing these days?
Well, I think in terms of joining clubs, I feel that sometimes it's maybe not accessible for juniors. I feel there's quite a few age restrictions and quite a lot of people are nervous joining clubs for the first time. I also feel quite a lot of juniors complain about like lack of facilities and tea times after school, because I know it does get kind of dark and cold at night. But yeah, I think the main problem is the social aspect. There's quite a lot of maybe older members at clubs. Quite a lot of children kind of want to meet other juniors and get involved and have social events at clubs, and they can get involved through golf through that.
So specific events perhaps at certain times that the younger members can go along to and see each other?
Yeah, I think quite a lot of people complain about timings. Quite a lot of medals are during the week. Quite a lot of people are busy, so just having kind of events at night or after school is quite handy.
And Scott, I know that at Carbridge you've done a lot to encourage junior members. Just explain to some of the activities that you've organised.
I agree with Rachel. The kids nowadays have got so much to do at school. We have a problem actually choosing the day we're going to do the coaching because they've got so many different activities during the week. And it's children have so much choice. And it feels like unless they are good at golf, they won't continue it. So it's trying to encourage the ones who aren't the stars to continue playing golf.
I think that's across the board in golf, isn't it? We've all been there.
Because I suppose the idea is to make a golfer for life out of it. And maybe you might get a member out of it. One of the things we did at the start is, one of the rules when I became junior convener was that they had to join for £30 before they could enrol on the coaching. Well, I got rid of that. I said, well, you don't have to be a member to come and join the junior program. So as soon as I did that, we had 20 children every Monday for a 10-week program. That was 5 years ago, and we're still, this year we did 17 children. And for the size of our club, we've only got about 300 members. It's nearly about 10%, so it's not bad. But yeah, I'd agree. It's difficult to keep the interest. So you've got to have games. You've got to keep it fun. Have fun competitions, little Texas scrambles mixed in with the adults as well. Involve the parents, barbecues, all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's more of a lifestyle choice as well, isn't it?
It's a social, yeah.
When there are so many options for children now. But Neil, how do you feel the PGA and Scottish Golf can work more closely together to encourage more juniors to take part?
Yeah, I think what was mentioned earlier about this new programme hopefully coming forwards, I think just having both the PGA and Scottish Golf working closely together on that, I think is absolutely key. I think in most golf clubs that have a PGA Pro, and I know, and I'm involved in one that isn't, because at North Inch I'm not actually the golf pro there, but I think in the clubs that have a pro, the pro is the centre, he's the first person that everyone comes, he's there, he meets and he greets, and him or her are absolutely key to the centre of that. And I think the other things for me are at some of the events, I think where a smaller clubs, it can be quite difficult to reach your market. You know, we don't have budgets to get out. I think associations like Scottish Golf and the PGA can help us put the message out there, but I think things like going to events that are non-golf. So we have fantastic setups at likes of the Open Championship and Scottish Golf, where we have golf lessons going on. But I'd love to see things going into the Highland Games, going into different family events that are non-golf.
Yeah, people who wouldn't normally be at a golf event.
Exactly, yes, and going to get people who are not thinking of golf and making it this fun way. And that's where I think the associations working together can really help us with that. And
do you agree with that, Anne? I mean, obviously you're getting to golf programme as well.
This year especially, we took part on the Live in the Green event as part of the European Championships. Scottish Golf asked for volunteers. Didn't quite realise how much hard work it was going to be. But I have to say, after 4 or 5 hours, I was so enthused coming out of all these youngsters. I mean, from that high, wanting to try and hit a ball into a bucket on a Volkswagen bonnet was absolutely fantastic. And what really got me was the fact that the parents just didn't know where golf courses were. So, and what the great thing is about golf, though, is at the end of the day, we just want people to get into the game of golf. It'd be lovely if they come to Douglas Park, but at the end of the day, we just want kids to get into the game of golf. And even though I was there, and most people were from south of the River Clyde, but it was fantastic to see just the enthusiasm. And that, again, was within an environment where there was all types of sports. There was queues all over the place to get in, and it really was fantastic to see. So really, that kind of initiative was fantastic. And also what we got out of it was a little bit of advertising in our local paper to say we're involved. So that it was a win-win situation for us from that aspect.
And it's one of the few sports and games that you can actually play regardless of age. You know, you can still play it with your parents, your grandparents, with your children. So it's open to everyone, and it's encouraging the next generation. You're obviously very much part of that, Rachel. We heard about the Solheim Cup earlier. As a junior, as a female player, how excited are you about this coming to Gleneagles?
Very much so. I mean, I've always looked up to all the golf pros, men and ladies especially, and I think it inspires so many kids. I felt that I got into golf by watching all the kind of big tour events and seeing that it is possible to get on tour. People like Katrina Matthews, who's Scottish born herself. Yeah, it definitely inspires so many people. I think this event will definitely encourage many juniors, including girls, into the sport.
And it's a great opportunity, isn't it? Even if you can't make it to the Solheim Cup, if you can't get a group to go, to have a social event at your club to maybe at least unite some of the people from your membership or your surrounding areas to come and watch it together.
Absolutely. Definitely. When the Ryder Cup was down at Gleneagles, we took 9 juniors along to that. There were no girls in that group. We've now got 6 girls in our programme, and hopefully one of the coaches will take them to the Solheim Cup. So they need some role models, some stars. So locally we've got Hannah McCook, so that's a good starting point. And I think role models and people to look up to are very important in sport. That's where it all starts from. It's the media as well, and like yourselves, BBC or whoever.
BT Sport.
BT Sport. And there
shameless plug.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I mean, it's been fantastic getting your insight, and Scott, Rachel, and Neil, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Give our panel a warm round of applause.